Chosen one. This group ganged up on you to make you remove yourself, but someone is now seeing the truth. Something sacred is unfolding around your life right now, and if you turn away from this moment, you may miss a quiet but powerful shift that heaven has been preparing just for you. A shift that carries healing, restoration, and a truth that is finally rising after a long season of silence and pain. There was a time when the voices around you grew louder than your own heart, when the weight of rejection pressed so deeply that even your spirit felt tired. Yet even in that darkness, God never stepped away from you for a single moment, and his gentle eyes remained fixed on your story with love that never weakened. Type 444 if you believe. You remember the feeling of being surrounded, not by support, but by cold distance and hidden intentions that slowly made your space feel unsafe and unfamiliar, as if the very place you once trusted had turned into a storm without warning. Those people gathered in ways that seemed casual on the surface, yet carried a deeper intention that tried to push you aside, to make you question your place, your worth, and even your purpose. It felt confusing, and it felt heavy, and there were moments when your heart quietly asked why this was happening, yet God was already working behind the scenes in ways your eyes could not yet see. Subscribe to this channel if you love God. There was a deep ache when you began to withdraw, not because you were weak, but because your soul needed peace more than it needed noise. And in that silence, Jesus drew closer than ever before. He did not speak with loud words, but his presence wrapped around your heart like a warm light in the middle of a long night, reminding you that you were never truly alone, even when it felt like everyone had turned away. His love became your hidden strength, gently holding you together when everything else felt like it was falling apart. If this is touching your heart right now, take a moment to like this video, because this small act can help this message reach another soul who is quietly struggling and waiting for comfort. There was something those people could not understand, something they could not see no matter how hard they tried to control the situation, and that was the hand of God resting over your life. They thought their actions could shape your ending, yet they never realized that your story was never in their hands to begin with. God had already written a path for you, one that could not be erased by human intention or broken by temporary rejection. What felt like an ending was quietly becoming a beginning that only heaven could design. As days passed, something began to shift in the unseen, and the truth that was once hidden started to rise like light breaking through early morning clouds. Someone who once stood among them, someone who once listened without question, began to notice the small details that did not feel right, the inconsistencies that slowly revealed the deeper reality of what had been done to you. It was not loud, and it was not sudden, but it was real, and it was guided by God's perfect timing. This person started to see your silence differently, not as weakness, but as strength, not as defeat, but as quiet dignity that refused to fight in ways that would harm your soul. They began to understand that what happened to you was not fair, and that your heart had been carrying a weight you never deserved to carry. God opened their eyes little by little, not through force, but through truth that could no longer be ignored. Meanwhile, Jesus continued to work within you, healing the parts of your heart that had been bruised by rejection, restoring your confidence in ways that felt gentle and steady. You started to feel a quiet peace growing inside, a peace that did not depend on people's opinions, but on God's presence that never left your side. Even when memories tried to return and remind you of the pain, His love covered those moments with comfort that felt deeper than words. Type 1616 to affirm. There is something beautiful about the way God handles truth, because He does not rush it, and He does not force it into the open before the right moment arrives. He allows it to grow quietly until it becomes strong enough to stand on its own, undeniable and clear. That is exactly what is happening now in your story. The truth is not only being seen, it is being understood, and that understanding is beginning to change the atmosphere around you. The ones who once stood against you may not fully understand everything yet, but the foundation of their actions is slowly being shaken by the truth that is coming to light. What they tried to build through confusion is now being undone by clarity, and what they tried to hide is now being revealed in ways they cannot control. God is not exposing this to harm anyone, but to restore what was broken and to bring justice in a way that reflects His love and righteousness. You were never meant to carry the burden of proving yourself, because your worth was never defined by their acceptance or rejection. Your identity has always been rooted in God's love, a love that does not change based on circumstances or opinions. Jesus sees you fully, and He understands every silent tear, every moment of confusion, and every time you chose peace instead of conflict. Now, as the truth begins to surface, something new is being prepared for you, something that carries healing, not only for your heart, but for your entire path ahead. What was once a place of pain is slowly becoming a testimony of God's faithfulness, a reminder that even when people fail, God remains constant and true. There is no need for you to return to what tried to break you, because God is leading you forward into a space where your spirit can breathe again, where your heart can rest without fear, and where your purpose can grow without interference. The chapter that caused you pain is closing gently, not with bitterness, but with peace that only Jesus can give. What if abundance could be activated from within your own mind through a powerful sound frequency once kept in classified files? Specialists say this signal naturally draws opportunity and financial independence, and many people are already applying it. Click the link in the description and comments now and switch on this hidden brainwave today. There is a sacred kind of healing taking place within you now, a healing that does not rush or overwhelm, but moves slowly and carefully through every wounded place, bringing comfort where there was pain and light where there was once heaviness. Jesus is not only aware of what happened, but He has been walking with you through every hidden moment, holding your heart steady when it felt like it could not carry any more weight. His presence has been your quiet shelter, even when you did not fully realize how much you needed it. As the truth continues to rise, the person who began to see things differently is now feeling a deeper stirring within their spirit, a realization that what they once accepted without question is no longer sitting right within their heart. They are beginning to reflect on the way you were treated, noticing the silence you carried, the dignity you held, and the way you chose peace even when you had every reason to defend yourself. This reflection is not coming from human reasoning alone, but from God gently opening their eyes to what was once hidden behind misunderstanding and influence. What they are seeing now is not just your pain, but your strength, a strength that did not need to shout or prove itself, but remained steady even when everything around you felt unstable. This kind of strength carries a quiet authority, one that does not come from people, but from a deep connection with God that cannot be broken by circumstances or opinions. It is this strength that is now speaking louder than any words ever could, revealing a truth that cannot be ignored any longer. Type 1111 if you trust in God. There was a time when your silence felt like it was being misunderstood, as if stepping away was seen as weakness instead of wisdom. Yet God was protecting you in ways that could not be seen at that moment. He knew that your heart needed distance from what was trying to drain your spirit, and He gently led you away so that your peace could be restored. What felt like loss was actually protection, and what felt like rejection was a redirection toward something far better than what you left behind. Now that the truth is beginning to unfold, there is a quiet shift happening not only around you, but also within you. You are starting to feel a sense of release, as if a weight you carried for too long is finally being lifted. This release is not loud or dramatic, but it is real, and it is deeply comforting. It is the kind of peace that settles in your heart and reminds you that you are safe, that you are seen, and that you are deeply loved by God. The one who is seeing the truth is also beginning to feel a sense of responsibility, a gentle but firm awareness that what happened to you was not right, and that something within them is calling for honesty and clarity. This does not come from guilt alone, but from a place where God is guiding their conscience toward truth and understanding. They are beginning to separate themselves from the confusion that once surrounded them, stepping into a space where they can see things clearly without the influence of others. This shift may not be visible to everyone yet, but it is growing steadily, like a seed that has taken root and is now beginning to rise above the surface. God is allowing this process to unfold in His perfect timing, ensuring that when the truth fully comes into the light, it will stand strong and undeniable. There is no rush, because what God reveals is always complete, always clear, and always aligned with His purpose. Type 1919 to receive miracles. Meanwhile, your heart is being prepared for what comes next, not through pressure, but through gentle restoration that strengthens you from within. You are learning to trust again, not in people the way you once did, but in God's guidance that never leads you into harm. This trust is becoming your foundation, something steady and unshakable that allows you to move forward without fear of what lies ahead. Jesus is teaching you that your worth was never tied to that group, and that your value was never determined by how they treated you. You are precious in His eyes, deeply known and fully accepted just as you are. This truth is becoming clearer with each passing day, filling the spaces that were once occupied by doubt, with a quiet confidence that comes from knowing who you are in God's love. There is also a new sense of direction forming within your spirit, a gentle pull toward places and people that carry peace instead of tension, understanding instead of judgment, and kindness instead of hidden motives. This is not something you need to force or search for, because God is already aligning these connections for you, bringing them into your life at the right time and in the right way. What you went through has given you a deeper awareness, a sensitivity that allows you to recognize what is genuine and what is not. And this awareness will guide you as you step into this new chapter. You are no longer the same person who once stood in that place of confusion, because you have grown through the experience in ways that are quiet yet powerful. The truth that is now being seen is not only bringing clarity to others, but it is also confirming something within your own heart, a knowing that you were right to step away, that you were right to choose peace, and that you were right to trust God, even when it felt difficult. This confirmation is strengthening your faith, reminding you that God's guidance is always trustworthy, even when it leads you through seasons that feel uncertain. There is a beautiful sense of closure beginning to form, not through confrontation or conflict, but through understanding that brings peace to your heart. You do not need to return to explain yourself or to seek validation, because the truth is already speaking on your behalf in ways that are far more powerful than words. What if wealth was never about chance, but about a hidden brain signal that stayed buried in classified records? This powerful frequency is now opening doors, attracting fresh opportunities, and transforming lives quickly. Thousands are already using it to bring prosperity into their lives in ways they never imagined possible. Click the link in the description and comments now, and turn on the money-attracting brainwave today. As this chapter gently comes to an end, something new is opening before you, something that carries hope, healing, and a renewed sense of purpose that is rooted in God's love. This new beginning is not marked by what you lost, but by what you have gained, a deeper connection with Jesus, a stronger sense of self, and a peace that cannot be taken away. God is not only restoring what was broken, but He is also building something new within you, something that will carry you forward with confidence and grace. What once tried to push you out is now being replaced by a path that welcomes you, a path that aligns with who you truly are and where you are meant to be. What once echoed in your mind as doubt is now being replaced by a calm understanding that you were never wrong for protecting your peace, and you were never mistaken for stepping away from what was quietly damaging your spirit. Jesus has been working within your thoughts, reshaping them gently, turning pain into wisdom and confusion into clarity that now feels steady and reassuring deep inside your soul. The person who began to notice the truth is now standing at a place where they can no longer ignore what they see, because the weight of that realization has grown stronger with time, pressing against their heart with a quiet urgency that calls them toward honesty. They are beginning to understand not only what happened, but how deeply it affected you, and this understanding is changing the way they see everything that once seemed normal. In their quiet moments, they are reflecting on your silence, remembering how you chose not to argue, not to defend yourself in ways that would create more harm, and not to become what others expected you to become. They are starting to see that your silence was not weakness, but a kind of strength that held dignity and self-respect, even when you were being misunderstood. This realization is opening their heart in a way that brings both clarity and a sense of awakening that cannot be undone. Type 666 if you trust Jesus. As this awareness deepens within them, a distance is forming between them and the group that once felt familiar, because truth has a way of separating what is genuine from what is not. They are beginning to feel uncomfortable with what they once accepted, noticing the energy of those interactions in a new light, and understanding that something within that space was not aligned with honesty or kindness. God is guiding this separation with care, not to create division for the sake of pain, but to bring clarity that leads to growth and healing for everyone involved. What is happening is not sudden or forced, but steady and intentional, allowing each person to come to their own realization in a way that reflects God's patience and wisdom. Meanwhile, your own heart is being lifted into a place of deeper peace, one that does not depend on whether others acknowledge the truth, because you are already being restored by something far greater than human understanding. There is a quiet confidence growing within you now, a confidence that is not loud or proud, but rooted in the simple knowing that God has seen everything and has been working on your behalf all along. You are beginning to feel lighter, as if the burden of needing others to understand has been gently removed from your shoulders, replaced by a sense of freedom that allows you to move forward without looking back. This freedom is not about forgetting what happened, but about releasing the hold it once had over your emotions and your sense of self. Type 1212 if you walk by faith. There is also a new awareness forming within you, a deeper understanding of how to recognize the difference between what feels right in your spirit and what quietly brings discomfort, even when it is hidden beneath polite words or familiar faces. This awareness is a gift, one that will guide you as you move forward, helping you choose environments and connections that align with the peace God is placing within your heart. Jesus is gently reminding you that your journey is not defined by the actions of others, but by the way you continue to walk in love, even after experiencing hurt. Your ability to remain kind, to remain grounded, and to remain connected to God in the midst of difficulty has shaped you in ways that are deeply meaningful and quietly powerful. The truth that is now being seen is also beginning to ripple outward, touching others who may not have fully understood the situation before. Small realizations are taking place, conversations are shifting, and perspectives are slowly changing as clarity replaces assumptions. This ripple effect is not chaotic, but calm and steady, guided by God's hand to bring light where there was once misunderstanding. You do not need to be present for this process to unfold, because God is handling it in ways that do not require your involvement. Your role was never to prove or to convince, but simply to remain true to yourself and to trust Him even when it felt difficult. That trust is now being honored in ways that bring peace not only to your heart, but to the entire situation. There is something deeply beautiful about the way God restores, because He does not simply fix what was broken, but transforms it into something that carries purpose and meaning beyond what you could have imagined. What you went through is now becoming a source of quiet strength within you, a reminder that you can endure, that you can grow, and that you can emerge with a heart that is still open to love and kindness. Inside your mind is a small region connected to achievement and abundance, once concealed within restricted research and classified documents. This newly disclosed frequency is helping people replace financial pressure with calm and balance, and God has guided you to encounter this at just the right time. Click the link in the description and comments to activate this hidden brainwave now. As you continue forward, there is a sense that new doors are beginning to appear, not all at once, but one by one, each leading you into spaces that feel safe, welcoming, and aligned with the peace you now carry. These doors are not random, but carefully placed by God, guiding you toward a future that reflects His plan for your life. You are not the same person who once stood in that environment, feeling unsure and surrounded by confusion. You have changed in ways that are quiet yet profound, carrying within you a strength that comes from having walked through difficulty and having chosen faith over fear. This strength will continue to guide you, helping you move forward with confidence that does not depend on external validation. The person who now sees the truth is also being transformed by this realization, because understanding brings responsibility, and responsibility leads to change. They are learning to listen to their own conscience, to question what they once accepted, and to step into a space where honesty becomes more important than comfort. This change is not easy, but it is real, and it is guided by God's desire for truth and growth. Everything that is happening is part of a larger picture that is still unfolding, one that carries both restoration and renewal, not only for you, but for everyone involved in ways that reflect God's wisdom. You may not see every detail yet, but you can feel the shift, the gentle movement of something new taking shape around you. The memories of what happened may still pass through your thoughts at times, yet they no longer hold the same weight they once carried, because Jesus has been healing those places within you in ways that are soft and patient. He has been replacing the heaviness with a sense of peace that does not need to explain itself, a peace that simply exists and reassures you that everything is now being set into its proper place. The person who began to see the truth is now feeling an even stronger shift within their heart, one that is guiding them toward deeper honesty and reflection. They are no longer standing in a place of uncertainty, but in a growing awareness that what happened to you was not only unfair, but also influenced by something that did not reflect kindness or truth. This realization is not easy for them to carry, yet it is necessary, because truth has a way of gently but firmly reshaping the heart. They are beginning to notice how your absence changed the atmosphere, how the space you once filled now feels different, quieter, and lacking the calm presence that you carried. This awareness is helping them understand that your presence was never a problem, but a source of balance that they may not have appreciated before. God is allowing them to see this not to create regret, but to bring clarity that leads to growth and understanding. Type 2020 to claim miracles. As this awareness deepens, there is a natural distance forming between them and the group, not through conflict, but through a quiet separation that comes from seeing things clearly. They are no longer able to participate in the same way, because their heart is being guided by truth, and truth does not allow them to remain comfortable in what once felt normal. This shift is gentle, yet firm, creating space for them to step into a place where honesty becomes their foundation. Meanwhile, your own journey is moving into a phase of quiet renewal, where the focus is no longer on what was lost, but on what is being restored within you. There is a soft strength growing inside your heart, one that does not need recognition because it is already grounded in God's love and approval. This strength allows you to move forward without carrying the weight of the past, because you are no longer defined by what happened, but by who you are becoming. There is also a sense of new beginnings forming around you, not in a loud or overwhelming way, but in small, meaningful moments that remind you that life is opening up again. You may notice a new sense of ease in your interactions, a lightness in your spirit, and a gentle excitement for what lies ahead, even if you cannot fully see it yet. These are signs that God is guiding you into a space where your heart can grow without fear. Type 2323 if you agree. The truth that is now unfolding is also bringing a quiet shift to others who were once part of that situation, even if they do not fully express it yet. There are small realizations taking place, moments of reflection that cause them to question what they once believed without hesitation. This is how God works, not through force or pressure, but through gentle awakening that reaches each person in a way they can understand. You do not need to return to explain or defend anything, because your life itself is becoming the evidence of truth. The peace you carry, the way you have moved forward, and the strength you now hold all speak louder than any explanation ever could. This is the beauty of God's restoration, because it does not rely on words, but on transformation that can be seen and felt. Jesus is also preparing your heart for deeper connections that reflect the peace you now carry, bringing people into your life who understand your spirit, who value your presence, and who bring a sense of calm instead of confusion. These connections are not forced or rushed, but naturally aligned with the path God is placing before you, ensuring that what comes next supports your growth and your peace. There is a quiet joy beginning to rise within you, one that feels different from anything you have experienced before, because it is not dependent on circumstances, but rooted in the assurance that you are exactly where you are meant to be. This joy may come in small moments, in simple experiences, or in a deep sense of contentment that fills your heart without needing a reason. The person who now sees the truth is also moving toward a place of inner change, learning to listen more carefully, to observe more deeply, and to act with greater awareness. This change is part of their own journey, guided by God in a way that helps them grow beyond what they once understood. It may take time for them to fully express what they now see, but the shift within them is real and cannot be undone. A little-known 7-second morning habit that was once confined to CIA documents is now resurfacing in public view, and people are already noticing rapid financial improvements. It only takes a few seconds to do, yet it activates a dormant wealth center in the brain that most individuals never tap into. Click the link in the description and comments now to see it before it disappears. Everything that once felt tangled and unclear is now being gently untangled by God's hand, creating a sense of order where there was once confusion. This process is not rushed, because true clarity takes time to fully settle, yet each step forward brings a deeper sense of peace and understanding to everyone involved. You are now standing in a place where your past no longer controls your present, and where your future is being shaped by something far greater than human influence. God is leading you forward with care, ensuring that every step you take is supported by His presence and guided by His love. Hold on to this season of quiet restoration, because it is preparing you for something meaningful and lasting, something that reflects the strength you have gained and the peace you now carry. What once felt like an ending has become a doorway into a life that feels lighter, clearer, and deeply aligned with who you truly are. A deeper sense of clarity is now wrapping itself around your life, like a gentle light that does not fade, a light that reveals not only what truly happened, but also who you have become, through everything you endured with quiet strength and grace. This clarity does not bring confusion or overwhelm, but instead carries a soft peace that settles into your heart, allowing you to see your journey with new understanding and calm acceptance. The weight of the past continues to loosen its hold on you, not because it never mattered, but because Jesus has been healing those deeper layers of your heart that once carried pain without rest. He has been patiently restoring your sense of worth, reminding you in quiet ways that your value was never dependent on how others treated you, but has always been rooted in God's unchanging love that remains steady through every season. The person who has begun to see the truth is now moving into a place where silence is no longer enough, because the realization within them has grown too strong to ignore. Their heart is gently guiding them toward acknowledging what they now understand, even if they are still finding the right way to express it. This process is unfolding carefully, because God is shaping their words and their actions in a way that reflects honesty and growth, not guilt or pressure. They are beginning to feel a quiet sense of responsibility, not as a burden, but as a natural response to truth that has become clear within them. They are reflecting on their role, on what they witnessed, and on how they may have misunderstood or overlooked what was truly happening. This reflection is not meant to create regret, but to open the door for change, allowing them to move forward with greater awareness and compassion. Type 1919 to receive miracles. As this inner change continues, there is a noticeable shift in how they carry themselves, a softness replacing what was once passive acceptance, and a deeper awareness guiding their thoughts and actions. They are no longer comfortable with what once felt normal, because their understanding has grown, and with that growth comes a natural separation from what does not align with truth and kindness. Meanwhile, your own heart is stepping into a new kind of strength, one that feels calm and grounded, not shaken by what others think or say, but rooted in a deep trust that God has already handled what needed to be handled. This strength is quiet, yet it carries a powerful sense of assurance that allows you to move forward without needing to look back or revisit what has already been released. There is a growing sense of freedom within you, a lightness that comes from no longer carrying the need to be understood by those who once misjudged you. You are beginning to realize that your peace is far more valuable than any explanation, and that the life you are building now is not meant to be shaped by the opinions of the past, but by the guidance of God who sees you fully and loves you completely. Type yes to affirm. The truth that is unfolding is also creating subtle changes in the environment that once felt heavy, as if the energy of that space is shifting in response to the clarity that is rising. Conversations may begin to feel different, attitudes may soften, and there may be moments where understanding quietly replaces judgment. These changes may not be loud or immediate, but they are real, and they are guided by God's hand in ways that bring balance and restoration. You may also begin to notice that your thoughts about what happened are becoming less emotional and more peaceful, as if the story is no longer something that holds pain, but something that has taught you strength and wisdom. This shift is a sign that healing is taking place, not just on the surface, but deep within your spirit, where true restoration begins. Jesus is gently leading you into a space where your heart can open again without fear, where trust can grow in a way that feels safe and natural, and where your spirit can breathe freely without the pressure of past experiences. This does not mean forgetting what you learned, but allowing those lessons to guide you without limiting your ability to experience peace and joy. The person who now sees the truth is also moving toward a place where they may begin to act differently, not because they are trying to fix the past, but because they are aligning themselves with what they now understand. Their actions may reflect a new awareness, a quiet effort to move away from what once felt acceptable and toward what feels honest and right. Everything that is happening is part of a larger process that is unfolding with care, ensuring that each step brings growth, clarity, and a deeper sense of peace. God is not rushing any part of this, because true transformation takes time to fully settle, and He is allowing each person to move through this journey in a way that reflects His patience and wisdom. What if just 7 seconds a day could completely change your financial future? A recently uncovered CIA-linked document has revealed a powerful brainwave ritual that everyday people are using to break free from debt and attract real wealth. Backed by research from 4 neuroscience labs, this simple at-home method is helping people manifest new homes, luxury cars, financial freedom, and dream vacations faster than they ever imagined. Thousands are already using it, but there is a catch. This information may not stay online for long. If you are seeing this right now, consider it a sign. Click the link in the description and comments before this secret disappears forever. You are now standing in a place where your identity feels clearer, where your sense of self is no longer shaped by external voices, but by the quiet truth that God has placed within your heart. This clarity is becoming your foundation, something that supports you as you continue to move forward with confidence and grace. There is also a gentle sense of anticipation building within you, not out of urgency, but out of a calm knowing that something new is on the horizon, something that aligns with the peace you now carry. This anticipation is not about chasing what comes next, but about trusting that God is already preparing it in ways that will unfold naturally and beautifully. The chapter that once held confusion is now being replaced with a story of healing, strength, and quiet victory. One that reflects not only what you have overcome, but who you have become through the process. This story is not defined by what others did, but by how you responded, how you chose peace, and how you remained connected to God, even when it felt difficult.